Okay, Rick, why don't you run us through what we've got here?
Okay, Greg, we call this sashimi. It's essentially raw fish. Salmon, tuna belly, some shrimp, and on the side is shredded radish and carrot. What do you think of this as a protein source, Greg?
Well, I think raw fish has been a traditional food of the Japanese for thousands of years. I think it's a great source of protein. I think it's a great source of healthy fat with the omega-3s in the fish. The one concern about fish these days is the mercury content. Mercury coming from burning of coal into the oceans, and a lot of the environmental protection agencies have warned young children and women of childbearing age not to eat tuna now because of the high mercury content. I think tuna probably is something we need to try and minimise these days, and certainly if you're sick, to avoid. There are some ways to safeguard yourself against the mercury in fish, and we can talk about that at a later time. Let's go, let's try this, Rick. I'll start off with the prawns.
Let's see what the salmon says here.
That's beautiful. How's yours?
Delicious.
Next course, run us through this one, Rick.
Well, Greg, you've got a grilled piece of pork meat with mildly spicy green peppers, and I've got a grilled tiger prawn right here.
Okay. Alright, let's try these. So I put some lemon juice on that. Lemon juice is very alkalizing for you.
This one.
Yes, yeah. Take the all down the
So this is our last course of the meal. What have we got here for this one, Rick?
Well, this is some soba noodles.
And what's soba noodles made out of?
Well, soba noodles is actually from buckwheat.
Buckwheat.
Yeah, yeah. And the one thing you'll notice is very, very small portion. And the portions come out very, very slowly. Sort of forces you to eat slowly and not overindulge. And it allows your stomach to feel full, as opposed to eating a very large meal very quickly.
Right, so that's why Japanese meals are usually served in small amounts and lots of different servings.
Right, exactly.
So they don't end up eating as much as everybody else. It's fascinating. Right. And it's interesting too that buckwheat is actually not anything to do with wheat. It actually comes, not even a grain, comes from a seed. So people with wheat allergies or gluten problems are fine to eat buckwheat. And you can see too that it's not a huge serving of carbohydrate as compared to how much fat and protein we've had for the meal. Carbohydrates made of a very, very small part of the meal, which means the meal is very, very antifungal meal as well. It's a phase 1 type diet. Let's go, Rick, let's try it.
You ready?
Let's try it. Let's do it. As usual, really good. And so, tell me, Dr. Lee, how come you're slurping your noodles so much?
Well, Greg.
Is that a Dr. Lee thing, or is that a traditional Japanese
Not at all, Greg. In fact, you'll notice the Japanese, when they eat their noodles, do make a slurping sound. It actually conveys that you're enjoying your meal. Okay. So it's actually a compliment to the chef.
Alright, so we need to do lots of slurping.
Yeah, yeah.
Alright, let's try a slurp. Thank you very much, Restaurant Yo. So take us through what we're eating here, Rick.
Yeah, so we've got a venison carpaccio here, which is typically deer meat, uncooked, cured, with teriyaki glaze, and some, as you can see, some chives and a little bit of parmesan on top.
It is a fantastic flavour. You can't taste the gaminess of the meat at all. And the herbs are really, really strong, so you get the strong taste of the herbs, and you can't tell at all that the meat is raw. It's fantastic flavour.
Well, this is the soft shell crab. And typically crab at this season shed their hard shell, and before they grow a new one, they get harvested. And as you can see, you don't have to cut through the shell, you could just eat it.
How was it?
That was delicious.
The important thing about eating beef or any meat is to make sure it's organic and particularly make sure it's grass-fed. If you're doing that, then you're getting a completely different food source than if you're eating unorganic meat or animals which are fed grains. Animals aren't meant to eat grain, they're meant to eat grass. It's a completely different protein source, completely different fat source. Make sure when you're eating meat too that you leave some of the fat on if it's organic, because the fat has crucial nutrients in it which is going to make you full and give you a lot of energy as well. Let me try this stuff. It's from Japan, it's good Japanese beef. You can see some of the fat still left on the meat, that's very important. Very, very juicy, very, very tender, tastes fantastic. It's good Japanese beef. Domo, arigatou gozaimasu. Arigatou gozaimasu. Right, let's try these octopus balls.
Ah, very hot. Very hot.
Soft, chewy, great source of protein. Very, very nice. Remember, health's about direction, not perfection. Sometimes you have to do the best you can in the circumstances you find yourself under. This is a traditional Japanese house on the mountain, so we're going to go and see if we can find something healthy in here to eat today.
Hey Greg, how you doing?
Good to see you. As you can see here, we've got a very nutrient-dense meal. We've got fish eggs with boiled crab meat on a little bit of rice. And we've got wild vegetables, wild Japanese vegetables with buckwheat noodles. Buckwheat noodles, very alkaline, actually not come from a grain, they're actually a seed. So we've got a very nutrient-dense food. Eggs are nature's finest source of protein. You don't need to get your protein from a protein supplement, a denatured protein supplement. You want to get your protein from nature. Eggs, fantastic source of that protein. Fish eggs, incredibly nutrient-dense. Let's have a look. That's really good. Healthy eating does require some discipline, but as the late Jim Rohn once said, you either suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. In the end, the rewards of having incredible energy to squeeze the juice out of every moment make it all worthwhile.